From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
It's a big evening of Evenings LA, direct from Santa Monica, California, with your first stimulus check update of 2021. In this recording, we go over the incredible great news as a recon will be passed unconditionally with all conditions attached to it in just a few days. We have the breaking news tonight on this big Evenings LA broadcast direct from Santa Monica. The recon went into a big negotiations Friday night, which means that the recon will pass with a rubber stamp in just a few days. The voting date, it has been locked in, and the price tag, not so much. No one has any idea what the price is and doesn't really care on the House side. How can that be? In this recording, we'll explain the details. Then, the incredible numbers. Get that pen and paper ready. We're going to go over the big programs in and the programs out. Those programs collectively across all these clusters of checks will pay you on average about $15,000 to the viewers of this channel. Then student loan debt forgiveness. More debt could be forgiven across the board. I'll have the latest details on that in this big evening's broadcast. And then the exciting details of this stimulus coming right behind that cola raise. As we go into a big evening and we're strolling along the pier, we're looking for some bacon. We're looking for a vote. We got the vote date locked in. We have the recon deal done, but we don't have the bacon. Do they sell bacon at night? I don't know. But this is a big, bold, beautiful evening's broadcast. I'm excited you're here. We got it done. We're heading over to the Senate, and then the bloodbath starts. It's a big, bold, beautiful evening, and the excitement starts right now. Hey, good evening, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful evening, and I hope your night is going well. Direct from you and I in Santa Monica, California, we have a recon deal happening. The deal reached on Friday, and it has now a vote in place. When will the vote happen? I'll explain the details. The price, not so much. They're very fluid about it, and they don't worry for purpose of the House. How can this be? I'll explain the details. Programs in, programs out. We have a lot of programs across these incredible 3 clusters of checks that'll pay you on average collectively in total about $15,000. I'm all about helping, and I have helped viewers get thousands of dollars, millions of dollars over the last year and a half. I'll show you how to get this money in this recording as well. Student loan debt forgiveness, more debt could be forgiven. $10,000, I'll explain the details of that, and then we go over the big cola raise, 5.9%, but get ready for fifth stimulus behind that. It's a big evening with so much abound, and the exciting details is that you have found the place where people help one another. And this is LALATE, America's most talked about news channel. Live in the morning, taped in the afternoons, where people are helping people, and I'm helping you around the clock, getting people $25 million of EIDL loans under second stimulus and first stimulus, then $250,000 in second stimulus for rent. And now the average viewer of this channel getting on average about $45,000 from third stimulus. The great news is then when you look over to fourth stimulus, that same amount of money is available there as well. So subscribe, like this video, and consider becoming a member. When third stimulus was debuted, I said the viewers of this channel would qualify for about $15,000. The average viewer of this channel has gotten $45,000. Stay with me later this video. We'll go over more about that detail. But now that fourth stimulus is being rolled out, as you look across all these clusters of checks collectively of these different programs, the viewers of this channel have done so well in the third stimulus will do well again. On average, about $15,000. It's incredible. And it's from 3 clusters of checks that were passed in the subcommittee of the House. We're going to go over each of the clusters, see which clusters survive to the House floor vote, because we have a bill and everything in the bill is remaining and will be rubber stamped in a few days. Let's go to the first cluster. When I say paid, when I say upfront or hard cold cash, it means it's an upfront check in your hand. If I say back end, it means it's on the back end after you do something. Here we go. Here we go. Cluster number 1, Hazard Pay. They got it in there and staying in there. It is the earned income tax credit for one more year. Back end, $4,000 of elder care, likely that is in there, but likely hard cold cash checks for $4,000 for caring for young children as well. Then they got the Pels grant in there, $550. That is hard cold cash check in your hand. The CTC, the child tax credit for one more year, $3,600 or $3,000 for low income family. That is in there. That is hard cold cash checks. Then the big surprise is the money for your home got in there. This is repairs for a home in the low-income community. It is hard cold cash checks. And then $12,500 for the purchase price of a new electric vehicle. It got in there. This is a back-end check. It's huge. A lot more than even the House passed on the subcommittee. So all the provisions from the subcommittee now are in the House bill and will be passed by the House floor. Let's go to the first add-on, and that first add-on came from Bob Casey and the President of the United States, and it got in there. Not at the $250, but just a little bit less. They wanted it in there, and it got in there. What is it? It is home health care. This is huge. This is a covered benefit, likely. Home health care for seniors and people on disabilities. They wanted $250 billion. They got it in there as an add-on. Let's go to the second cluster of checks, and let's see the status of those. Boy, I'm excited for you. Are you excited? I am, because these are big ticket items. Paid leave and family leave got in there. Then the household tax credit got in there. The pre-kindergarten got in there. Community college fell out. And then the money to weatherize your home, it got in there. Good. You definitely need to weatherize your home, especially if Joe Manchin drives up with that Maserati in that horrible color. Weatherize quickly. There you go. Well, what about the paid leave and family leave? It got in there. It's thousands of dollars. Stay with me later in this video. Let me give you a roadmap to this video. We're going to go over the programs now as we're going over them first. Then at the commercial break, we're going to be going over what happened on Friday, what's happening going forward on each of the voting steps. I'm going to have all that in the second half of this video. And then we're going to go over program after program, check over check, answering your questions on air and going over eligibility. Get that pen paper ready. Let's continue the overview right now. So here we go. Pre-kindergarten, that is a hard cold cash check in your hand. And then the paid leave and family leave, that is a hard cold cash check. Well, the other add-on, which I think I went out of order. Did I go out of order? The second add-on got in there, and it is the Maxine Waters first purchase of your first home. Whoa. That was supposed to be $25,000, and she got it in there, but not at that potential price point. So here you go. Very exciting. This is free hard cold cash to you or the seller in your name during escrow before close for the purchase price of your first home. Wow. I've seen your great questions from Ryan and Lynn, Glenn, and others, and Mary. They're going to be covered in later in this video, so stay with me. I'm going to go over that purchase price of that first home coming up later in this video. Let's go to the third add-on. Here we go. This was the Battle Royale. You remember this cluster. This was a big battle. So we're going to go over each of these and go over whether they survived, whether they didn't, whether they're front end or back end. Free school meals for all survived, and it is hard cold cash check, $65 a month per child when not in school. Then when in school, covered benefit. Cheaper prescription medication got in there, a covered benefit. Immigration reform got in there, no checks. Farmers, I don't know. Free internet, I don't know. Clean energy out. Money for the workers, I don't know. And then Medicare expansion, let's go over that on air right now. Medicare expansion has so many different elements to it. First, dropping the eligibility age of Medicare from 65 to 60 or 55. I don't think I got in there. Doing the holdout states for Medicare expansion got in there. I'll explain it later in this video. It's very complicated. And then the dental vision hearing, they got the hearing in there. The dental and vision, Bernie says, is going to be added on the Senate side, which tees us up beautifully for the third add-on, which is that MSE, which stands for monthly or multiple IRS stimulus checks. This is a provision that can be taken care of on the Senate side, as been detailed on this channel for weeks. And the important detail is that the reason why the legislation is getting out of the House so quickly over to the Senate is because the senators say they have a lot to do. The senators, whether it's Ron Wyden or Bernie Sanders or others, saying, we have a lot to do, send it over the Senate. And here you go. Two opportunities where they can insert a potential monthly IRS stimulus check on the Senate side. First, during vote-a-rama, or second, during subcommittee of the Senate. What is a vote-a-rama? A Vote-A-Rama is a 2-day event at the very end of the whole process in which the senators for 48 hours introduce changes or amendments to the House legislation. It's a historic day, 2 days, in the body of law in general. Historically, the Vote-A-Rama delivers some of the biggest bodies of legislation this country has ever seen. For example, under third stimulus, Chuck Schumer and Liz Warren introduced during the Vote-A-Rama a provision to make forgivable loans tax-free for students. They knew the president was about to forgive some student loan debts. So let's say it was $20,000. Under existing law before that Vote-A-Rama, you'd immediately have to come out with $10,000 approximately out of your wallet and pay it to IRS because it's taxable. $20,000 taxable right away, pay it to IRS. Well, Chuck and Liz took care of this during the Vote-A-Rama. Introduced a provision to make it tax-free. You don't have to pay taxes a penny, saving viewers thousands of dollars. House members never took it up. House members never put in the bill, never even talked about it. Very typical for Vote-A-Rama. That Vote-A-Rama is just totally brand new stuff you never heard about on the House side. The other opportunity is a Senate subcommittee. This is becoming more obvious in the last few days because the senators say there's major gaps missing. There's a lot of work to be done. That signals more than 48 hours is needed, and you want a subcommittee. Who's in charge of one of the most important subcommittees? Bernie Sanders. He's chairman of the Senate Budget Committee, and he has the opportunity to send it to the subcommittee. You want it to happen because you want those modifications to be added, and you want this provision to be added as well. Have you picked up the phone and advocated today? As Jennifer would always say in the live chats all throughout the day. Let's read that message of advocacy from the number one legislator, his chief of staff. Let's hear what she said. They now have in total, between the congressional and senator's office, received more contacts of advocacy from the LA Purple Power than the number of signatures in the American petition. It's over 3 million. Everyone's amazed by the outpouring of touching stories from the LA viewers. Now they have a better understanding of than just a bunch of signatures. Now they have a better understanding of how Americans are trying to make it through this pandemic because of the LA viewers. They have heartbreaking stories in the LA viewers, and they have the voice of the people in LALATE across the nation as you have become too loud to be ignored. Then let's read the last sentence on air. Please continue your continuous encouragement for the continued advocacy as the professional voice of the people you have become, LA, and continue this until this becomes law. Very, very kind. It means so much for you and for us. Why? Because this channel is about helping. This channel is about advocating. Pick up the phone and advocate. Because guess what? We're going to be coming out of that House. We're going to be heading over to the Senate, and the senators are going to have a lot of stuff they're going to want to add. And some are going to want to remove stuff. So you need to advocate across the board. In the second half of this video, we have a lot coming up. We're going to go over what happened with that big deal on Friday. Very confusing. Unless you've found this channel before, I'm going to go over all the details of what happened with that big deal on Friday. We now have a deal on the recon and a rubber stamp coming. What day will that rubber stamp vote happen? I'll explain when. Then the price is right? No. They have no idea what the price is. They don't care for purpose of the House. How could that be? I'll explain what's going on. Programs in, programs out. Get that pen and paper ready because I'm going to show you the thousands of dollars of these various programs you are eligible for. If you did well under third stimulus with this channel or second stimulus with this channel, you're going to do really well under fourth stimulus. Then student loan debt forgiveness, more debt could be forgiven, and then the big exciting details of fifth stimulus coming right after that COLA raise. We have those details and more as we go into a big evening. Direct from Santa Monica. I'm really excited for you. As you stroll along the pier, we're still looking for bacon. Maybe I'll find it during the commercial break. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds as a big evening's LA continues. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now as a deal reached on Friday night for your recon. I'll explain the latest details. It is huge. It is great. It is worthy of some beautiful fireworks. A vote is happening, and that vote will happen as early as this week. When will we know when the vote will happen? I'll explain the details. In the confusing process made simple in this recording. The price is right? No. No one knows what the price is. Do they care? Apparently not so. For purpose of the House, not particularly an issue. Why is this? I'll explain what's going on. Very strange across the board. But it's good for us because more programs went in, and those programs will pay you a lot of money. Then, student loan debt forgiveness, more debt could be forgiven. Whose debts would be forgiven? I have all the latest details. And then we turn over to fifth stimulus because get ready. Fifth stimulus is coming right behind this one. The latest details on that as we go into a big, bold, beautiful evening. I'm excited you're here. And thank you for joining America's most talked about news channel, LALATE. With 16 hours of shows per day, hundreds of hours of programming per week, you have found the best, most comprehensive, and the most helpful channel, where I aspire to help each and every single one of you on the hour by the hour. So subscribe. For 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. Like this video and consider becoming a member. Let's go right into the details of the excitement tonight. On Friday night, a deal was reached with a recon that even the most sophisticated viewer would get confused by. It took a lot of stepping back and analyzing it to understand what went on. But I'm going to do it right for you to make it even simple. Whether you're an advanced or beginning viewer who just found this channel, welcome. I'm going to explain it to you right now. Two bodies of legislation, two different names. Let's go over them. The first one is called Roads and Bridges, also called infrastructure. This concerns roads and bridges, does not concern you, not your money, no money for you in that. The second body of the legislation is recon, also called reconciliation, also called the budget bill or the social spending plan. Now, I know the president's using the same word to describe both of them, the Build Back Better initiative or something like that. Let's ignore that word. All right. Let's remember that the recon only needs Democratic votes. That's why it's a recon. It does not need any Republican votes. But among the Democrats, we have two groups. One group of Democrats are called the progressives. The other group of Democrats is called the moderates. The moderate Democrats really wanted the roads and bridges to vote. The progressives really wanted the recon to vote. And on Friday night, Nancy Pelosi had a problem. What was the problem? She had the progressives saying the following: I'm not going to allow the moderate Democrats to call a vote on the roads and bridges until we call a vote on the recon. The moderate Democrats are saying the opposite. They're saying we're not going to allow the progressive Democrats to call a vote on the recon until you call a vote on the roads and bridges. So how do you solve this problem? You do what Nancy Pelosi does better than anyone else for decades on decades. You reach a deal. And boy, was it a great deal. A very strange deal, but a great deal. The deal involved the following: bringing the moderate Democrats up to the House floor, having them raise their hand, and having them vote. The House moderate Democrats voted that they will vote in favor of the recon in a few days, unconditionally, as soon as a Congressional Budget Office report is released, but no later than the week of November 15th. Well, that's a big sentence. It is a big sentence. Let's slow it down. First, the moderate Democrats agreed to vote in favor of the recon. Wow. So we're done with them. Yes, basically a rubber stamp. But they're waiting for a report from who? The Congressional Budget Office. Who is that? It's a nonpartisan organization that looks at budget issues. Okay, so they want to see the report first. Yes. And then they see the report and it's bad. Then they're going to change their opinion and vote against the recon? No. So the agreement they reach is that they just get the report and they're going to vote in favor of the recon, despite whatever the report says. Yeah, sounds strange, but it works brilliantly because progressives and Nancy saw, I can see the moderate Democrats backing out. They don't like the report. No, you have to still vote in favor of the recon. So there you go. What is the Congressional Budget Office? It's a nonpartisan organization that basically looks at how much the recon costs. And then that date would be no later than the week of November 14th. What does that mean? It does not mean on November 15th or November 14th. It does not mean on the week of November 14th and November 15th. It means no later than that week. So when could they actually vote? They may actually vote as early as this week. It depends on how quickly they can get the Congressional Budget Office report done. I've been detailing this channel as a big issue for over nearly 6 days. Senator Bob Menendez, I featured on Tuesday last week asking for this report to be done. So if they requested last week, it may be done this week. As I tell viewers across the board, take a nap on Thursday. Take a nap on Thursday, because you know what Nancy Pelosi does every Thursday night across America. She calls a vote at midnight. There's something that is about Nancy with Thursday nights and voting at midnight. It's just, since a young little child, she woke up and said, Mommy, it's Thursday night. Let's vote on something at midnight. Honey, it's the middle of the night. Go to bed. No, we got to vote on Miss My Little Pony or Care Bears. It's midnight. So this Thursday night, I expect Nancy to vote on something. Maybe it'll be a recon. Otherwise, maybe it'll be on Eagles versus Jets. I don't know who's playing on Thursday. So there you go. Let's go recap that incredible deal. So let's actually read the comment, the actual statement. This was written and signed by the moderate Democrats and also voted by the moderate Democrats, said eye to eye with Jolliball. We commit to vote in favor of the recon in its current format, barring any technical changes, as expeditiously receive the Congressional Budget Office report no later than the week of November 15th. Done. There you go. Price tag is right? Not really. No, it's not right. What's going on? Well, the recon was 1.75 about maybe 8 days ago. And then start of last week, I said 3 provisions will go in. They're trying to add in there. And they got in there. My predictions were right. And those provisions were paid leave, $200 billion. Suddenly we're at 1.95. Then they added cheaper prescription medication. Costs, I don't know. Then it added in there the SALT. That's not free. So we're clearly over $2 trillion. So why is this not an issue for the House? In my opinion, I think they're just sort of sending it over to the Senate saying, here's the report, you deal with the issue. We're just done as purposes as House members. So with that, let's go over programs in, programs out. Here we go. We're going to start with that paid leave. It was a revision we started the week it was out. I said it was going back in, and boy, did it go back in. Let's go over the calculations of what it is starting right now, and then how much it pays you. First, it is hard cold cash. What is paid leave? It is staying home because of the birth of a child or staying home because of an illness of a household member or you. It's not COVID illness, it's any illness. If you look back over the last year, you probably had this happen to you. Your wife had to go do a dental procedure for 2 days, or you stayed home because your son got the flu at school, so you had to stay home for 3 days, or you broke your leg during a pickup basketball game on the weekend. You were out for 2 weeks from work. This is paid leave. How much does it pay? A lot. Thousands of dollars. Under third stimulus was supposed to pay $1,400 a week if you make $70,000 or more per year, $800 a week if you make $35,000 or more per year, $400 a week if you make $15,000 a year. Over 4 weeks, possibly. 4 times $1,700, that's $5,000 plus dollars. 4 times $400, yeah, it's thousands and thousands of dollars. The best part is the final section. Everyone. Nancy got it to the biggest eligibility you could get. It's great. It includes all income levels, all types of workers, W-2, 1099. Case in point, Uber, Lyft driver, your wife's pregnant, you cannot drive the car, you will get paid this money, hard cold cash from the federal government. Then, W-2, department store employee, you have to take your wife to a dental procedure for 2 days, you get that coverage as well. There you go. It's in there. And that is the first of 3 add-ons that got in there. Price tag $200 billion. That is why we're not at 1.75. We're a little bit more. Let's go to the second add-on, which comes right after that, and it is SALT. SALT was the second provision that was looming to be added in there. I said it was. It got in there. What is SALT? One viewer said a few days ago, slow it down here because it's confusing. It is confusing. I did not even know what SALT was nearly a few weeks ago. Let me go over what it is with you right now. When you go to pay your state and local taxes on the state tax return, you pay a certain amount, whatever it is. Then when you go to pay your federal IRS tax return, you can deduct the amount you paid in state and local taxes on that tax return. But there's a catch. Under the Trump tax code changes of 2017, you can only deduct up to $10,000. A problem if you're in big states that have big tax rates like New York and New Jersey, where Gothenheimer, the moderate Democrat House member, is from, who introduces legislation. So he got it in there. You can now deduct more, and the SALT cap is raised. It will now be $72,500 is the maximum you can deduct on your IRS tax return of what you pay in your state and local tax deductions. You can deduct up to $72,500 of what you paid. Big lot difference than $10,000. Let's go over the other details that are in this incredible recon. So we got in there $40 billion of job training. Very good. So if you want to become a truck driver or something like that, yeah, totally free across the board. If you have questions or comments about any of these provisions, send me a private message on social media like Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. How do I qualify for it? I know it's not a law yet, but let me tell you this question I have. I want the most complicated, the most elaborate questions because I'm here to help you. You help me and you help others when you bring a very difficult question about eligibility. We may not know the answer just yet, but we know what to look for. So keep on bringing those great questions. Here comes another one. This one's complicated, so let's slow this one down. They got the Medicaid gap fix in here. What's going on? Under Obamacare was to be nationwide. It is, but there's a problem. There's 12 holdout states where the governors are Republican, where they have offered Obamacare but do not want to pay for it because they're Republican. So they're called the holdout states. There's 12 of them. Joe Manchin had a big issue about it, rightfully so. He didn't want those states to do it for free. So Raphael Warnock and Jim Claiborne, he's Georgia, he's the Clare Alliance, came up with a great provision for this one. And it is a workaround plan that allows subsidized private insurance to you if you're low income in those 12 holdout states. It's incredible. Immigration reform got into this recon. Let me explain what it is and what it isn't. There's a faux news story out there that says immigration reform in the recon or the roads or bridges or both is going to pay big checks to immigrants. Untrue. There's not a single check for any immigrant in the recon. What are they doing? They're taking another story and putting it into the recon. The other story is the following. During the Trump administration, thousands of immigrants were separated at the border from parent and child. Of those thousands, a few hundred filed lawsuit in federal court against the federal government. Now those few hundred lawsuits are demanding settlement offers of $400,000. They're settlement offers. They have nothing to do with the recon of the roads and bridges. If they are paid, they are not being paid out of this money. They're being paid somewhere else. And the president specifically said he's not settling at $400,000. Then we have the great news about the housing assistance. So here we go. $150 billion for housing programs are in this recon. Whoa. When third stimulus became law, I said to viewers of this channel, I can get you on average about $15,000 from third stimulus. If you've been to the viewers of this channel since last year, you've seen the ability of me to get people money. I got viewers $250,000 for rent under second stimulus when it was very hard to get it then. But when third stimulus became law, I said I can get you about $15,000. The average for this channel has gotten $20,000 for rent. You've seen the graphics on this channel. I haven't done third stimulus in a few days from now, but I'll do it again this coming week. Third stimulus has paid viewers on average $45,000, but a lot of money from rent under a third stimulus program that was only $47 billion. And the last $13 billion of it was just sent out a few days ago. That's the reference point, $47 billion. How big is this recon? $150 billion. So imagine if you got $20,000 from third stimulus. Well, fourth stimulus is going to have the same items in there another round. So you're going to get all that plus potentially the other sums of money, which are home repairs, if you're in a low-income community, weatherizing your home, and also the purchase price of that first home. Remember, you don't have to be behind on your bills. The eligibility depends on every 6 different places that you reach out, city, county, state, and housing authority, and there you go. In-home healthcare, that is a covered benefit for my seniors and disabilities. Here we go, some hard cold cash checks, some more of them, $550 of checks to college students under the Pell Grant. The big surprise is the $12,500. No one saw this coming. It was $7,500 for many, many years of the purchase of an electric vehicle. And that was what it was in the House subcommittee. But now the House bill going to final vote will say $12,500 of back-end tax credits for the purchase of a new electric vehicle for a union shop. That's Ford, GM, Chrysler. Wow. It's incredible. And then they got $65 of hard cold cash checks for children for food per month when they're not in school. When they are in school, it's a covered benefit. Boy, which brings us then to the money for prescription medication. This is a game changer. If you're a senior, you should absolutely be celebrating this event. There are two things that I wish of last week, not this week, but the week before that, was one, that people really praised the president for what he did, and number two, that he fired his press corps who didn't tell people on what he did. Let me go over what happened. 20 years ago, let's back it up, 20 years ago, when Medicare was rolled out and its charter establishment provisions were rolled out, it said that they cannot negotiate the price of any medication with pharmaceutical companies, big pharma. Whatever they want to charge, and they send the cost over to you. Yesterday on Mornings LALATE, I asked viewers, how much you paying for insulin currently as Medicare recipients? Mark's wife, $900. Kathy, or it was Mary, said $500 or $700 per dose. Joe Biden is getting you $35. It's insane. What happened? For 20-something years, Big Pharma blocked any change to this legislation, with 15 paid lobbyists on the hour by the hour, blocking any change to status quo. We are having problems with this issue for several weeks with Kristen Sinema, who wasn't going to budge an inch until 2 Wednesdays ago when Joe Biden does what Joe Biden does better than anything else, negotiate. When it's face-to-face or on the phone, he wins really well. He picked up the phone and he negotiated with Kristen Sinema, said, Sinema, you need to get on board with this. You need to get on board. And she said yes. She not only said yes to the prescription medication reform, but she also said, you know what? I'll bless the whole recon. And from ever that day forward, she's blessing the recon. So let's go over the incredible deal that the president reached, and his press corps didn't tell anyone, but talked about climate in Rome. Fire them. Take the teal and get lost. Did I say that? Yeah. Okay, here we go. They're going to make 30 medications cheaper by the year 2028. They're going to start with about 20 of them. And these are the most expensive medications. The rule will be that Big Pharma must, in good faith, negotiate with Medicare on the most expensive medications of Medicare Part B and D. It is diabetes, arthritis, and things like cancer. It's not your $10 prescription for flu. This is big money. And then they're going to ramp up more prescriptions per year up to 30 by 2028. And then they can't increase them more per year than the rate of inflation, that common benchmark for a lot of this legislation coming out in the next few weeks. Ron Wyden says it's a big win for patients and consumers, and this is with $35 a dose for insulin. For the first time, government is no longer having its hands tied behind its back. I love Chuck Schumer's response, which is, this is great, but get ready for next year. Why? Because Chuck Schumer is going to be back next year trying to buy away more at this. Scott Peters says it's really good for seniors. Sinema praised the event, and the lobbyists were really the talk for Jan Skakowski. She said, I'm excited we did this. Despite 15 paid lobbyists, we really got this done. This coming week, potentially 2 bodies of provisions in the recon could get removed. By who? The Senate parliamentarian. Who is that? The Senate parliamentarian is a government official. She's not partisan. And she looks at provisions on the recon and looks at the Senate rules, and she says, does not belong in there, cannot go by recon. What are the 2 provisions at jeopardy? Paid leave and immigration reform. What are my predictions? I think immigration reform is going out. Paid leave, I don't know. Immigration reform, she previously ruled it does not belong in the recon. So I think it's going to lose again. Paid leave, I don't know. 50-50 on that. And that would, if any provision's removed, the provision goes out, but not the money, which means it could be reallocated to us. And with that really tees up what is really coming next. Why is the voting happening so sort of simplistically for purpose of the House? Because the House members see the senators saying, I got a lot of work to do. Just send it on over to the Senate. You don't leave the burden upon you, House members. We'll take care of the issue. And the senators are not really stuck at a number because they're adding stuff in there. You're seeing the paid leave, that's additional $200 billion. Are we at 1.9? Are we at 2.0, 2.2? We don't know. But the point is that the senators say, we got a lot of stuff to do. We have comments from all senators saying, send it over. Bernie saying there's some major gaps. Best body of the law since the 60s, but major gaps. Then we have people saying like Bernie says, I'm adding provisions in there. Of course I'm adding stuff in there. Dental vision needs to go in there. We cannot sit back. Ron Wyden saying the deal's not done to the Senators Act. And he also says there's a significant amount of work to do. Senator Chris Coons saying things are going to change. AOC Jolopal said the senators are making changes. Chuck has changes to be made. The parliamentarian removes his provision. And Murphy says, get ready, Senator. Get ready for those changes. All right, what should we get ready for? Get with our pen and paper, because we got more programs going over right now. Let's go over those programs right now. If you have questions or comments, send me a DM. Remember, not law yet. Not law yet, but if you're wondering about how something works, bring it, because it helps me analyze the situation. Universal pre-kindergarten, cold hard cash, 1 year, 3 to 4 year olds. The CTC, cold hard cash up front. This is $3,600 or $3,000 a low-income family. Eligibility, very unclear. My notes show $60,000 a household annual salary. That means single parent, multiple parents. Don't know, because the notes here say 150. Not sure what's going on. Earned income tax credit, back end, 1 more year of that. Home health care, that is seniors and people on disability. Great question from, I think it was Mary, who said she is on disabilities and she has the service. Is there anything going to be provided for the people that the caregivers, the people that are actually helping me? Great question. So I did see in some of the legislation some wording that said they'll not only provide the home health care free to seniors and people on disabilities, but also improve the quality of work life for those caregivers. Not quite sure how they do it, but I did see language in there, and we'll track it together as a family, so we learn together as a family as it gets closer to law. Hearing services, hearing aid, in there. Don't know if it's paid benefit or just a voucher check in the mail. Then comes our big money for the home. Boy, $150 billion. We got the rent. We got the utilities. We got the mortgage assistance. We got the home improvements, low-income community. We got the first purchase of your first home. I believe it was Kathy or Mary. I'm bad with names today, as you can tell. I believe it was Kathy or Mary who sent me a great question. Married, bought a house, divorced, wants to buy her first house by herself. Would she qualify? Don't know. Great question. We have to look at the word first time. What is first time? First time in your individual capacity? That would work. So we got to look at the definition. We'll work through this together. This is what helping one another means. When you ask a great question like that, it helps other people because they may have that situation. Here comes Ryan with a very helpful question for a lot of us. He wants to know, what type of home? Ooh, he asks about a mobile home. Does a mobile home qualify instead of a brick and mortar? Great question. We have to look at the definition of home. This is how bringing your questions and me helping you helps others, because people have similar questions across the board. I would have never thought of something so important as that. So we got hard cold cash checks of $550 for the college students, the Pell's Grant. Then we have the $65 a month of meals for the college students. Wow. And this is after they got the meals paid, covered in the school. So what checks are likely to still go in there? We're heading from the House over to the Senate. What do we know that Bernie's going to make a push to add in there? Let's go over the calculations of them right now. First, we know that the dropping the Medicare eligibility age from 65 to 60 or 55 will still be in play. But then we have the dental and we have the vision. Hard cold cash checks last in the recon, no longer in there at the moment on the House side. Let's do the calculations. Dental. Last time I was on the recon, it was $850 hard cold cash checks. Good. This is good per year, per senior on disability, per senior on Medicare and Medicaid. But Bernie said it needs to be more. It does need to be more because that $850 doesn't really cover big procedures, just like a cleaning. Now, what about what else he proposed? He proposed 10 years, full covered benefits, and he proposed 3 years. So let's see what happens with this one. But the vision is the more obvious one. Vision is so cheap to do and so easy to do. So it should go in there. Bernie wants eyeglasses and eye exam per year. Eye exam, $50, for example. Eyeglasses, $100, $150 a year. Very easy. Voucher, send it out in the mail to the seniors. Go get it. Or do it as a covered benefit, like it as a voucher, hard cold cash check. Brady says the wealthiest country in the globe, and yet we have no money for teeth in our mouths and cannot see. Absolutely. Very, very important across the board. So with that, let's go back over to some of my notes and see where things line up and where things don't line up, and cross-referencing with other broadcast news channels. So I show the child tax credit, $60,000 household annual salary for eligibility. Let's see if it's $150,000 or $60,000. We have that paid leave. The eligibility is incredible. We have the clean energy out. We have the health insurance, less weeks, but in there, great. The housing aid, $175, huge. The in-home health care, $100, $200 billion. Oh boy. I'll have my commentary of the situation in just a second, but let's turn over for a brief blink of the eye to student loan debt forgiveness. More student loan debt could be forgiven. The president's offered $10,000 to be forgiven by executive order. The Democrats should take it. He forgave student loan debts first for people who became disabled after graduation. Then he forgave student loan debts for people who went to work in the nonprofit sector 10 years after graduation. Finally, he forgave people who went to work for 10 years after graduation in the public sector, city, county, state, federal government. Now he's offering $10,000 across the board. Democrats should take it by executive order. They can come back and ask for more next year. COLA, your benefits are going up next year. Have you gotten the letter? No worry. It's happening. 5.9% starting January 1. Social Security, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, veterans benefits, SSDI, and similar benefits, it's all going up. But fifth stimulus right behind it. Fifth stimulus would have 2 more raises up and 3 benchmarks removed. First, they'd raise your benefits up one big time. That would be right after this becomes law. Then in December 2022, the third lift up, which would be the benchmark based upon inflation. Inflation is not going to be zero next year. Jay Powell and myself agree. He said last week the same number I said, 1 to 3%, 2 to 3%. It's all about the same for December 2022, which would mean you get 1, 2, 3 lifts ups in 1 year. They're going to remove the asset cap, remove the income cap, and remove the marriage penalty. And love is going to win, and you'll be able to marry your longtime love interest. Finally, if you haven't become a member, what are you doing? The membership link is under the video. Become a member today because listen, as soon as third stimulus became law, I told viewers of this channel on average they can get $15,000 across all these incredible clusters of checks under third stimulus. And the average viewer got $45,000 because they read the newsletter, they read about the nonprofits, they read about the money coming out from Treasury, they understood where to get the money, they understood they don't have to be behind on the bills, they understood the money was there, they understood if they don't have children, they qualify for the money, and they got big sums of money. They've learned over the last few weeks to get multiple rounds, 1, 2, 3 rounds. And the big exciting details is that learning has compounded itself on this channel. They knew this in some part because I had covered it the year before in December 2020 when second stimulus was around. I covered how to get this money. So when third stimulus came around, they learned it. When third stimulus had multiple rounds of it, they got multiple rounds. And now as we look forward to fourth stimulus, and I say the average viewer of this channel will get an average about $15,000 across all these clusters of checks. They've been doing this for over a year. They know, you know, and if you've just found this channel, you're going to learn as well. Helping is what this channel is about. So consider becoming a member today and get that newsletter that comes out Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system and the LALATE alert system, the only alert system of a news organization in this country like it. It's under the description of this video. Sign up and get that alert system totally free to you tonight. And with that, let's go over my commentary of the situation as we go into a new day. 3 words that we have seen over the landscape over the last year, and they mean different things to different people. They're all verbs. The first verb, promised, then predicted, and then said. They mean different things to different people, but let's analyze the situation. Recently, someone sent me a private message that said, whatever happened to that $10,000 of hazard pay that I was promised in 2020? I stopped for a second because I didn't know what the person was referring to. What 10,000 they were promised. And then I realized, oh, in May or June of 2020, the House of Representatives under Nancy Pelosi passed the HEROES Act, a behemoth, $3.5 trillion, that had in there $10,000 of hazard pay for essential workers. It then went over to the Senate, just like this recon is about to go over the Senate. The only difference was then in 2020, the leader of the Senate was Mitch McConnell, not Chuck Schumer, Mitch McConnell. He got that bill with the $10,000 of hazard pay and took it and put it in the wastebasket. It was done. So promise, not promise. Incorrect verb for the situation. It was attempted to do. It was pushed. It was legislated by Nancy Pelosi. But she didn't promise it to you. She knew Mitch McConnell was in charge of the Senate. Mitch McConnell, he prevented it from happening. All right, let's go to the word predicted. For example, next week, Senate parliamentarian. I'm predicting that one will go potentially out and the other one I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. It's just a prediction. No one knows a prediction. Ultimately, the only person who knows is the person making the determination, in this case, the Senate parliamentarian. Which brings us to the last word, said. It's important to understand that legislators are many of them. If you're looking at the House, among just Democrats, there's hundreds of them. You're looking over the Senate, there's dozens of them. And what's important to understand is if one person says something and that doesn't happen, it doesn't mean that what they said was untrue. It means that someone else potentially may have not allowed them to do it. Let's look back at last Friday. Jalapal wanted to vote on the recon before the roads and bridges. She said that many times, repeatedly said it. But she couldn't deliver it. Why? Because there was another group of people who said, I'm not going to let you have that. Doesn't mean she didn't mean what she said when she said it. Doesn't mean she didn't care for you. Didn't mean she didn't want to do that for you. It means someone else didn't allow it to happen. Let's use this in the context of the monthly IRS stimulus check or multiple stimulus check. We have Casey, Coons, Sanders, Warren, Schumer, Wyden, all senators, all Democrats, who has said to the viewers of this channel over the last few weeks, thousands of them, that they want to insert a stimulus check or stimulus checks provision into the recon when it lands in the Senate. That's 6 senators. There's more than 6 senators who are Democrats. It only takes one Democratic senator to say, no, I'm not going to do it. And if that one Democratic senator says no, then it doesn't mean that 6 senators, when they said they would do it for you, didn't mean they wouldn't do it for you. It doesn't mean they didn't want to help you. It doesn't mean they didn't want to deliver it for you. It means that the situation is, because of the balance of how many Democrats and Senate to Republicans there are, one no can stop 6 yeses. And that is the landscape across the board. As I sit here in Los Angeles, in Santa Monica, and I report what they say. When I report Jalapal says she wants to call the vote on the recon before the roads and bridges, I'm reporting what she says. If she can't do it because a moderate Democrat says, nope, I'm not going to do it, doesn't mean she didn't care. Doesn't mean what I reported was not what happened. It means that she said it and she couldn't deliver it because something happened. It's the same as what happened in that hazard pay situation in 2020. Nancy Pelosi introduced a House bill, had hazard pay in there, $10,000, passed the House. I reported. I read it on air. This is what the House bill said. It went over to Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell threw it in the garbage can. I reported. He threw it in the garbage can. Done. Not promised, but Nancy Pelosi didn't not care for you. She attempted her best efforts to try to get it passed. And even as Mitch McConnell threw in the wastebasket, even when it was in the wastebasket, we were all urging for its inclusion somewhere else by some other means around Mitch McConnell, whether it was myself or Nancy. That's the spirit of this channel. And the spirit of this channel starts with helping. Me helping you, you helping others. On day 1 of this channel, I've been helping people, and today I'm still helping as well. When you send me a private message about a program, let's say paid leave, and you have a very complicated, advanced, detailed question, you know it's not law yet, but you have an interesting question. When I look at the question and I answer it on air, it helps not me, but also you and all the other viewers who are listening. Because there may be another viewer besides Ryan who wants to buy a mobile home. Or there might be another viewer who is a home health care provider who says, wow, that was a great question by that person. That helps me from my understanding. The spirit of this channel has always been helping and continues to be helping. Don't let anyone distract you. Don't let anyone disfocus you. Focus on the path going forward. We're coming out of the House. We're going over the Senate. And as Bernie said, it's a good bill, but it can get better. And with that, I'm excited for you to join me throughout the rest of the night. Coming up next is the continuation of our 3-hour programming block. We have Evening's Countdown at 6 o'clock. We have Street and Stimulus at 7 o'clock, part of a 3-hour programming block nightly on this channel. Then shows at 8, 9, 10, and 11:30. I'm back tomorrow at 3 and 3:30. 4 a.m. Pacific Standard Time is early mornings LALATE, and then mornings Countdown at 7. I'm back on air at 9 a.m. with mornings LALATE live on air. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers is a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video, 2,000-3,000 likes. Send me private messages of anything you need clarification on camera for. Advocate. Remember to advocate, because we're not done yet. They want to help you, and they're going to try their best efforts to help you. Ultimately, it may take one person to block them, But doesn't mean they don't care, doesn't mean I don't care, it doesn't mean you don't care. And with that, I'll see you next as evening's programming shows on this channel continue.